Congratulations to everyone sitting here. It is an honor to be inducted with you all today. Thank you to all my friends and family for being here with me today to celebrate this occasion. The only time I was ever comfortable being in front of such a large audience, I was on the court playing, so please bear with me. When I was growing up, my mom had this poem hanging on the refrigerator titled, "To Any Athlete." It advises how to behave because you never know who is watching you. In 1987, I was playing in the state all-star match. Coach Condit was there. Whatever caught her eye about my potential, she had to decide pretty quick. The match was over in about 20 minutes, and I was on the losing side. I didn't know anything about Miami or even where it was, but I agreed to visit Oxford, Ohio. 20 years ago, I was on that recruiting visit to Miami University with my mom. We drove down Talawanda towards Millett Hall, and I had a feeling that it wouldn't be the last time. We met Coach and Jill inside. We saw Darcy's office, the main floor, the sub-gym, the locker room, and finally the film room. While watching game footage, I had a feeling that I had been there before. As my mom and I talked that afternoon, I explained what I had felt. She wasn't surprised. 6 years earlier in junior high, I declared to her that volleyball was going to be my sport. I don't remember the exact reason, I just had a feeling. Faith is seeing what you believe before it happens. That was how things got started on my journey to today. In the 1988 media guide, Coach described me as raw talent, which is putting it nicely. Luckily for me, fellow farm girl and eventual Hall of Famer Karen Lepley was on the team. Coach set up a passing drill to zone 7. I had no idea what she was talking about, so I followed Karen. I was extremely shy, and I wasn't about to ask questions. I just did whatever they told me to do and attached myself to Karen. I also thought that if they found out how much I didn't know, they would take my scholarship away. A fear I carried with me for 4 years. Many times that first year, I'd called home frustrated and homesick, hoping to hear that if it was too hard, I could quit. It is a good thing my dad wouldn't let me quit anything for any reason. His advice was, practice harder and longer, and you'll get on the court. I knew quitting wasn't really an option. I just needed to have faith that Miami and volleyball would open doors to opportunities that my home in Fulton County could. My freshman year was all about learning the skills as well as keeping stats. I joke with Coach that the record book should have an asterisk beside my name since I surpassed all my freshman numbers that first weekend my sophomore year. Back then, redshirting wasn't an option unless you were injured. In high school, defense wasn't my focus, but in college, Coach made sure it was. I learned to love defense, diving, digging, sprawling up and down Withrow Court for hours and hours. I still have those bruises and floor burns to prove it. Offensively, I thought I could just fit right in. Wrong. There were plays and new techniques to learn, such as the slide and the quick attacks. My high school coach may not have prepared me for all the strategies, but she did teach me to hit the ball hard, no matter what. Kathy Whalen, our 5'5" setter, and I spent many, many hours practicing weightlifting classes and rooming together. So sometimes a grunt or a look was all that was needed during a match. In 1990 versus Bowling Green, we were in a dogfight. As I recall, it was the 5th game, almost 3 hours in. Coach calls a timeout. She tells Kathy and me to not run the 4 set. We went back on the court, and right away, we are out of system. Before I had time to think, I yelled, 4. Sure enough, Kathy sets it, and we won the match. I didn't consciously make that decision. It just came down to us trusting in ourselves and each other to get the job done. Winning the MAC championship and the tournament, playing Nebraska in the NCAA tournament, being selected to the Olympic Festival teams, and placing third in the NIVC were the highlights. But those knockdown, drag-out matches against BG, Ball State, Western, Central, and Eastern Michigan were some of the most memorable. It tested your mental toughness, physical conditioning, determination, and heart. The coaching staff taught us the Miami traditions and that what you represented in that uniform was bigger than yourself. You belonged to an elite group of women. We all shared those grueling preseason practices when you could barely walk up the stairs, the early morning track workouts in the fog, weightlifting to pack on the pounds of muscle, the traveling, setting goals, the wins, losses, the embarrassing moments, and the highlights. When we alumni get together, the stories come pouring out. The understanding and laughing never stops. Whether it was in 1980 or 2007, we can all relate. Standing up here, entering the Hall of Fame, and trying to find the words so you might begin to understand what this means to me is extremely hard. I share stories of my journey because you all helped shape me into the player that I was, whether you knew it or not. I'm proud, elated, humbled, thrilled, and many adjectives partly show how I feel at this moment. It comes down to it. I'm extremely thankful and appreciative of each and every person who helped make me into the player then so I could be here today. I want to thank my mom and dad for being supportive, honest, never letting me quit, and pushing me to do my best every day, just in case someone was watching. Thank you, Coach Condit, for seeing potential in a very shy, awkward 17-year-old and providing me the opportunities that led me to be standing here. Thank you to my brothers, Dan, Kirk, Spence, and sister Charity, for keeping me grounded in a way only family can do. Thank you to my Aunt Nancy, Arnold, Deb, Tab, Chris, Tony, Grandma Habel, and family for your support. We had a lot of good times at Pizza Hut after the matches. Thank you to Judy Pike and Cheryl Hopwright, my first volleyball coaches. Thank you to Darcy Schreiber for your academic guidance, and Dr. Robin Veely for your fake it till you make it speech. To assistant coaches and alumni Jill Kors, Kevin Renschler, Lisa Dankovich, Renee DeGraff, Sandy Secoy, Kathy and Wendy Teepee, Jenny Heineman and Jenny Sherman, and all the alumni for setting the standards of what it would take to be a Redskin and now a Red Hawk. To teammates Karen, Renee, Sarah, Molly, Jill, Lisa, Joni, Kathy, Kristen, Jenny, Paula, and all my teammates and alumni. Thank you for your leadership, wisdom, criticism, intensity, competitive spirit, and friendship. Thank you to my husband, Rob, and our children, Adrian and Ethan, who may be future Miami student athletes, for sharing this special day with me. And finally, thank you to Miami University, the Hall of Fame committee, the athletic department, and everyone that thought so highly of my career on the volleyball court to allow me to become a part of this prestigious group of athletes. I truly am honored. Thank you.